When my mentor told me that if I did exactly what he told me to do, in 4 weeks, my clinical depression would be fixed, I was insulted. I was 22 years old at this point, and I'd been suffering with crippling social anxiety and depression since I was 15 years old. That's 7 years of being unable to leave the house without having panic attacks. 7 years of constant, very dark thoughts. 7 years of going from counselor to psychiatrist, trying to find answers as to why I felt the way I felt, why I didn't enjoy my life, why the world scared me, why I didn't have any friends, why I couldn't speak to people without having physical symptoms, my heart racing, pounding, sweating profusely, having actual panic attacks, just speaking to a cashier, trying to buy a pint of milk, taking pills to try and regulate my mood. 7 years of exhausting myself every night so much that when I went to bed, I was so tired that I would fall straight asleep because I knew if I wasn't exhausted, I would have to spend time in my bed with no distractions, with my own thoughts, and that terrified me. And all of my doctors would tell me that I would have to learn to live with my condition. I'd have to learn to live with my depression and live an existence which was mired by horrible, dark thoughts, constant suicidal tendencies, and an inability to connect with people. Hearing stories of other men who have lived their lives with their conditions and thinking of how miserable my life is going to be moving forward, I was certain that I wasn't going to make it past 25 years old. Really. But here I am, sat in a Discord server with a man who tells me to simply just blindly follow his advice, just for the next 4 weeks. I had nothing to lose, right? So while I was insulted by the idea that my depression would be fixed, my clinical depression, by the way, which I've been through multiple counselors, psychiatrists, doctors, all telling me, Sam, this is clinical depression. You have an imbalance in your brain which causes you to feel this way, and you're gonna have to live your entire life like it. I listened to him anyway, because why not? I had tried so many things on my own accord. I had tried going through all of the traditional methods that you would try to fix your issues, go to a doctor and they just give you a bit of medication and that fixes all of your issues, right? That's what I was told I should do. You should seek help, Sam. And when I went to go seek help, I received medication. I received counseling, talking about all of my issues and my traumas, reliving all of the shit which I've been through. Why not try something else? So I blindly followed his advice. He told me the importance of gratitude. There's something about humans where we are innately ungrateful for what we have. Even though you might be sat watching this video and you're thinking, damn, my life sure does suck. I promise you, it could be a lot worse. Imagine if you were in jail right now and you had been in jail for 3 months. You would probably find that you would become a lot more grateful for your everyday small things, like mouthwash. Your life is so mundane and you don't have as much stimulation that you would have if you were outside of jail, that your daily mouthwash routine would suddenly become a highlight of your day. And the problem is, when we are living our day-to-day lives, we don't take any sort of conscious time to feel grateful for the things that we do have. Even if they are small, silly, menial, the practice of gratitude is consciously planting positive thoughts into your brain. And with that, you actually bring more positivity into your life. Because I guarantee you watching this video right now, there's a lot to be positive about in your life, a lot. You just choose not to focus on it, and perhaps you choose to focus on the negative. We're humans after all. So gratitude, starting your day by manually planting ideas into your brain, even if you feel like you don't want to, even if you feel like there's nothing to be grateful for and you feel sad and you want to focus on your negativity. It's weirdly comfortable being depressed. Trust me, I've been there, I understand this. It is weirdly comfortable not accepting any sort of responsibility over your own well-being. Sometimes it feels more comfortable to listen to the sad music and indulge in our negative emotions rather than actually trying to combat them. Practicing gratitude is actively combating your negative emotions. That's the first thing he taught me. The second thing he taught me is the importance of fitness. Your mind regulates your body and your body regulates your mind. mind. I was living a very sedentary lifestyle. I would play video games for 12 hours a day. I wouldn't leave my room. I wouldn't leave my house. I wouldn't even go for walks. My mind and my body were both in the same state. My body was decaying, and therefore my mind was also decaying. As an avid video gamer, I found a lot of pleasure in numbers, funnily enough. Seeing numbers go up. How much damage have you done? How much healing have you done? This stuff innately excited me. I'm a very competitive person in my heart. The problem was I was using my competitive nature in the wrong way. I was using them in video games, which were actually decaying me as a man rather than building me up. This is when the gym was introduced into my life. I realized that I could use my innate desire to see my numbers go up in a much more positive way inside of the gym, and that's exactly what I did. I started off working out at home. I was far too anxious to walk into a public gym and start lifting some weights. So I ordered some adjustable dumbbells and I started working out at home. And eventually I mustered up the courage to buy a gym membership. And I went into the gym every single day, tracking my numbers and using my competitive nature to try and increase the numbers week by week. And once I started to see some results inside of the gym, I saw my numbers go up. I saw myself getting stronger. Something clicked in my brain where I realized my life is entirely in my hands. I can actually work on myself and improve myself. I no longer have to continue decaying and going on a downward spiral. I could become better. And this started out physically inside of a gym, but it didn't take long for me to realize that it also worked mentally and spiritually as well. But this only clicked inside of my brain once I started the gym. That's the second thing he taught me. The third thing he taught me was the importance of work. I needed a sense of purpose which was above my own selfish needs. Myself as a man, and we've already established that I am a competitive man, and if you're watching this and you're a man too, I guarantee you also have a very competitive nature. Whether you've tapped into that or not is the question, but a great way to tap into it is certainly setting some goals and working towards something. Because honestly, if you're not working towards something, the devil makes use of idle hands, and you're going to end up wasting a lot of time, and you're going to start doing things which aren't going to serve you and your mental health. It doesn't have to be grand. You don't have to have a goal of becoming a millionaire within the next 6 months or anything like that. What I'm telling you is that you just need something to wake up for. You understand? You need a reason to get out of bed. You need something which excites you, that you can make progress towards every single day. You need a why. During this time, I had started video editing online, and I found so much fulfillment and a sense of purpose through my work by editing these videos in a way which would gain tangible results for the people I was editing them for. And not only that, I also started to make some money too, which is a great bonus as well. But that sense of fulfillment I got, and the praise that I got from the people I was working with, and the people who were watching the videos I've edited and were commenting, wow, this editing is amazing, helped my self-esteem so much. And it made me realize that I wasn't just a sack of useless, unlovable shit. I was actually valuable to someone, and you can become valuable too if you choose a goal and you find great pleasure in working towards it. That's the third thing he told me. The fourth thing he told me was the importance of presence. I had spent the last near enough 10 years of my life unconscious, constantly delving deep into technologies, into fantasy worlds, social medias. I spent very, very little time in the present moment, because when I was in the present moment, I would feel so horribly inadequate, and I would immediately start being haunted by my own mental demons that I continue to find escapism through video games, which was my vice. Your vice might be something else. But something he told me made a lot of sense to me, because the idea of presence for me was that I would immediately just, like that, cut off all of my distractions and just be completely present in the moment all day like some sort of Buddhist monk. It's actually not the case. The practice of presence takes time to build, and you don't have to be incredible at it straight away. Much like how you go to the gym and do repetitions for your bicep curls so you can get bigger biceps, being present is the exact same thing. All you need to do is simply set the intention, I'm going to practice being present for the next 10 minutes. And then you sit there with your thoughts, no distractions. It helps me to focus on a sound. Maybe I hear the bugs outside. Maybe I put the sound of waves on my phone so I can hear that, and I focus on that. And naturally, as you're doing this, your mind is going to wander, and you're going to find yourself getting lost in thought. And that's totally normal, and that happens to me to this day. The mindset shift which really helped me is that every time that happens, that is essentially a repetition, a bicep curl, boom. You catch yourself in the thought and you bring yourself back to the present. And as you continue to practice this, you will get better and better and better at being present. You spend less time worrying about your future, and you spend less time dwelling on your past. You're here right now, and this gives you the ability to build efficiently without constantly being mired by anxiety. That's the fourth thing he taught me. And the fifth thing he taught me is the importance of taking responsibility. Every single doctor that I went to, and every single counselor I went to, apart from one, all had one thing in common. They took the responsibility of my own well-being out of my hands. They cast it upon a mystery illness, a chemical imbalance in the brain. And with that, I had zero control over how I felt and how this mystery disease was taking a hold of my life. And the funny thing about that is that it actually creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if you feel like you have no control over your fate, you're not going to take any action to actually change it. If one of my beliefs, for example, is that I am not genetically gifted enough to ever gain a six-pack, no matter how lean I get, no matter how much fat I burn, I simply will never be able to see my six-pack. I'm not going to be obliged to do the work which is required of me to actually get the six-pack. And therefore, my theory becomes true. And it's the exact same with believing that you can't change anything about your current well-being. By handing over control to an illness, a disease, a chemical imbalance in your brain, you take no responsibility, and you're not obliged to change anything in your life to make your life better. One counselor actually handed all of the responsibility to me. I went to 7 counseling sessions with this guy, and every single session I went to, he was essentially prying me with a crowbar, trying to get something out of me. I didn't want to be there. It made me feel insanely uncomfortable. I had crippling social anxiety. I didn't want to talk about my traumas and my past and how I felt. I was there because my mom was very worried about me and she wanted me to get help, but I wasn't ready to get help. The last session I went to, I sat down in the chair and he sat down in his chair and looked at me. And he looked at me for what felt like eternity, but in reality it was probably more like 10 minutes. For 10 minutes he looked at me and did not say a word. Eventually I felt so uncomfortable that I actually said something. I asked him what was going on, and he said to me, "You're not ready to get my help." And then he asked me if I wanted to leave. And I said yes. And that is the very first time that a health professional has actually placed the responsibility onto me. And it was the most impactful therapy session that I had out of all of them. It was also the most uncomfortable and awkward one. But that sticks with me to this day. And I'm very grateful to that guy because he taught me a very valuable lesson. If I wanted to make any change, it had to come from within me. A pill wasn't going to do it. No one else can force me to do it. It is up to me. That is the 5th lesson he taught me. And just with those 5, gratitude, fitness, work, presence, and taking responsibility, I had all the tools I needed to change my life. Within 4 weeks, I was feeling a lot better. Within 3 months, I was off my antidepressants. And 1 year later, I was an entirely unrecognizable man. If you want to learn how to make money online from the comfort of your bedroom or traveling the world with your laptop, I teach over 500 of my students how to do exactly that. And as you can see here on the screen, we're getting excellent results inside of my academy. You could be next. Take care, boys.